So, my friends, welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin at 118,340 US dollars. But apparently, Bitcoin doesn't really matter at the moment because we're right in the middle of a little altcoin season. Whether this is already the real altcoin season, we'll definitely take a closer look at that in today's update video. Of course, we'll also be looking at crypto, so we'll be looking at Bitcoin as well. Of course, we'll also be looking at the stock markets and, naturally, at Forex and, also at gold. Because a lot happened yesterday. First, there were rumors that Trump wants to fire Powell again and that there's already a letter and so on. That shook up the Forex markets a bit. Then Trump took it back again. Then yesterday, the Genius Act first passed through the House of Representatives, but it's still not completely through yet. So it's a back and forth at the moment, but the bullish news just keeps on coming right now. But before we get started, go ahead and give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, feel free to join the free Telegram Talk and Signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, feel free to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade all of this, you can do it all on my partner exchange, BingX. Right now, you can secure up to 11,500 USDT in bonuses. There, you can basically trade everything we discuss here. Alright, now let's dive into the analysis. Oh yeah, quick reminder, tonight, I should mention, tonight at 7 p.m. there will of course be another live stream with your altcoin requests and so on. So, now let's get started. We're starting off with Bitcoin. 118,370 US dollars. The short position was picked up perfectly up here. Honestly, I was a bit nervous about it yesterday. If you just quickly read that in the group, I was still a bit, kind of torn yesterday. Damn, I was a bit too precise again, but it worked out. The 0.5 level was hit. We went all the way up to 120,100 US dollars, first grabbing the liquidity here. If you want, you can already set your stop loss to entry here, just to be on the safe side. If we come back up here again, the opportunity would present itself once more. In any case, that's how I played out yesterday for now. Alright. We also encountered a lot of resistance up here. Like I said, there was a bit of trouble yesterday because of the whole, Fed situation with Powell and Trump. But anyway, then in the evening, the decision about the Genius Act and so on was positive again, and we saw how the altcoins pumped. As long as Bitcoin holds up well here, I have no problem with it. Although I would still prefer if we drop down briefly to around 114 to 111. You know, down here is basically where most of the liquidity is still sitting right now, and there are also one or two vectors that still need to be picked up here. I'd like to grab those first, so that we can then, with certainty, possibly push to a new all-time high up here. That would at least be step number one. But ideally, or in the best case, this should happen very, very slowly, especially for the altcoins. If we take a look at the funding rates, they're actually pretty much unchanged from yesterday, still at a normal level, at least on some exchanges. Crypto.com is usually a bit higher, though. BitUnix and KuCoin are among the most expensive exchanges, and the funding rates there are now in the red zone. But as long as we're still in the, reasonable range on the main exchanges, or even completely normal, then everything's still fine. Let's click into the heat map. There we can see, okay, we still have a cluster above 121, and up here things are starting to pile up again. But we also still have this big cluster at 115 to 115,000 US dollars. That's why it's better to secure the short position now, set a stop loss at entry, we've got nothing to lose anyway, and just wait and see where the direction takes us. Because even on the weekly chart, there's still this huge cluster down here at 114, 115. It would just fit really, really well to get a long position down here up to the all-time high, so that we basically see this plan play out. And then possibly up to 128,000 US dollars. There's not much else happening with Bitcoin right now. So let's move on to the altcoins. Specifically, let's switch over to Ethereum. Ethereum has now almost completely worked through the entire red box up here. Within a single day, it went up 13% here. At its peak, we were above 3,400 US dollars, now at 3,350. So here too, a little setback, but after 13% in one day, that's not a big deal. And that's exactly why I told you yesterday, we don't just blindly short here. It doesn't make any sense. Now, if we take a look, there's not much left of our red zone. That means Ethereum could slowly but surely be forming a small, temporary top here, and you might remember, I said that with many altcoins, we haven't even surpassed the last high yet. We've broken through that high. That was the first major resistance at $2,800, then the pump upwards, and now here we are. But if we even push it up to $3,500, that's where we hit the next big cluster. So that's what we need to get past first. $3,420 to $3,500. Honestly, even here, a short position might be an option, but I'm watching this very, very closely. Right now, there's still too much impulsiveness in the market for me. If we do get up here, we can consider, depending on where Bitcoin is at the time, whether to open a small short position here. Otherwise, I would keep my hands off leveraged shorts here and just ride the wave if you're already long. Theoretically, there's still room to move up. As I already told you yesterday, up to $4,500. But as I said, for now we've just reached the resistance area here. Let's move on to Solana. Solana is finally showing a bit more movement as well. And if we take a look at the daily time frame here, we've managed to break above it. We've had a daily close above the 200 SMA. We've had a daily close above the last. Big candle over here. So we've formed a higher high and are now up here in the next resistance zone. That means we can remove our fib level here. A bullish breakout for Solana for now, even though the daily is already looking a bit overextended again. But at least we've managed to get through the first cluster. The second one, and in my opinion, this one is more important, is this resistance area up here. If we break through that, then we've definitely got room to move up to $190 to $227. And I can really see that happening, because if you saw the altcoin performance yesterday, spoiler alert, we'll be taking a look at all of that tonight in the live stream at 7 o'clock. If you followed the day a bit yesterday, you know the altcoins really pumped hard. Also, Chainlink has finally managed to form a higher high on the daily close, and theoretically, I now expect this pullback to happen everywhere sooner or later. That would fit with Ethereum. Another high, then a pullback down, just like with Bitcoin at 114K. And then, let the starting gunfire for altcoin season. That's the moment I'm currently waiting for. A higher high in almost all altcoins, or at least in very, very many of them. A pullback into the 0.5 level or into the golden pocket down here, for example. And then, let the altcoin season begin. Right now, it's still wise to be a bit cautious, especially after such pumps in the last few days. It's better to take a bit of risk off the table, be a little careful. But otherwise, everything is currently going very, very well according to plan. Let's move over to the, traditional markets. Gold yesterday, and let's quickly switch to the 1 hour time frame so you can see what I'm getting at. Yesterday, this was the announcement here with this wick. Trump wrote a letter. He wants to fire Powell. Blah, blah, blah. The gold price shot up extremely and then moved sideways again, and the whole movement was undone. And that's the kind of thing you can expect, probably, if it really comes to Trump firing Powell or Powell bailing out, to put it bluntly, because then there would just be a lot of uncertainty in the market. Something like that has never happened before. If a Fed chairman is fired or let go, however Trump wants to do it, he'll find ways and solutions. So, you should be extremely cautious in that situation. But for now, I'm still staying on the sidelines here. Euro versus US dollar. Unfortunately, I have to say at this point, after Take Profit 1, which I mentioned to you in yesterday's video, there was this scam wick caused by Powell's dismissal. Yes, that hit our stop loss exactly here. So really, if we take a quick look at it, from our stop loss to our take, or rather, up to the wick high, it was just 0.05% that hit our stop loss here. But well, that's how it is. The next trade will come. Maybe we'll get this wick fill here again and can go short once more. Otherwise, let's move over to the traditional markets. DEX is barely moving, more of a sideways phase or currently at the top here. We've talked about the divergence several times already, but for me, it's still not a short scenario at the moment. Nasdaq, okay, ASML's numbers were relatively good, but the outlook was pretty lousy. Nvidia continues to top everything with over 4 trillion in market cap and all that, so honestly, I'm not surprised that it's also leading the way for the Nasdaq. US Tech 100 is moving sideways, Dow Jones is still more in this bull flag formation, and the S&P 500 is also more sideways. So as you can see, the momentum is still pretty weak everywhere here. No matter what we look at, crypto is pumping right now. Apparently money, or just money in general, is flowing a bit more into crypto, and honestly, that's not so bad, because it gives us a chance for a little altcoin season, at least for the next few days, maybe until the end of the week, and that might be it. Other than that, what I also want to bring up today is Circle. Circle has made another perfect move. Anyone who's been following the live streams or watched the recent videos about it knows that one of our golden pocket entries down here, I'm talking about spot, not leverage, has now gone up by 37%. So, a really good entry here at the golden pocket. The goal for now is still open-ended, and I can imagine that if this thing keeps pumping, the next stop might be around $250, maybe $254. If we break out of there and really move into the region of $300, $400, it's possible that a stock split could even happen here, which would actually be very good, because the higher the prices get, the less interesting it becomes for small investors, of course. Maybe keep that in mind as well. If this stock split happens, it could be a new buying opportunity, simply because the stock will seem cheaper than it actually is for small investors, and so, let's say, more shares can be sold again. Because, after all, who really likes to spend, let's say, $230 on a single share? We saw it with Nvidia, a stock split, and the pump kept going. And many companies have already done this, and I'm still very bullish on Circle. Just like with Coinbase at the moment, which has also broken through the resistance by now. And now we're almost at the IPO listing price here. Just wanted to remind you of that again. Otherwise, I'll see you all tonight at 7 o'clock on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. I'm looking forward to it. I wish you a nice, relaxing day. Later, the spot video will be released, which I've been testing for a year now. Now it's finally time for me to show it to you. Everything's coming later, and otherwise, I'd say that's it from me. Leave a like, subscribe, join the Telegram group, and we'll catch up again later. Until then, ciao ciao, and as always, stay crimped.